Stand by to receive our transmission.
Where are you boys from in the world?
Alabama, sir.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Welcome to the Bama Geeks podcast. We are four friends diving into our favorite pop culture topics with a dash of Southern charm.
We have the tools, we have talent. It's Miller time.
Whoa, this is heavy.
Pizza Dude's got 30 seconds.
Wait, what? Crazy? You didn't say I was crazy.
You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man.
You want something done, you've got to do it yourself.
Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes!
So grab your biscuits and gravy, a glass of sweet tea, and enjoy the nerdy hospitality of Brock and Jessica Parker, Bo Bearden, and Kevin Gardner.
This is the way.
This is the way.
And welcome into episode 6 of the Bama Geeks podcast. We hope you are doing extremely well. I'm Brock Parker, and of course, we've got my besties in the whole world. Say who you are, please, so I don't sound like I'm so alone.
I'm the number one bestie because I'm the wife. Hi, it's Jess.
I'm the number bestest bestie, Kevin.
Oh.
I'm the boat, best of all time, Bo.
And we have a very special guest on this podcast. She is adorable. Yeah, you think I'm talking about Jess, right? Jess is supremely adorable, but so is this young lady. We have Alyssa with us on this one. Say hello, Alyssa.
Hi, I've been the bestie for the longest, so I win.
Oh.
That is true.
Wow.
Yeah.
Competition.
We can argue that.
Yeah.
My daughter, she is a teenager, and we wanted to have her on the podcast for two reasons. Because A, it's a Sunday night that we always record. Usually, Jess and I are just arriving back home from dropping off the kids with their mom. But being it's a Memorial Day weekend, we have the kids with us, so we figured Alyssa would be pretty interesting to talk to because she can give us her take on teenagers and their pop culture leanings and some areas that, you know, can update the rest of us old people on. And she's very knowledgeable. And before we've started recording this episode, she has been psychoanalyzing Kevin because she's heavy into, you know, the personality types and all. So Kevin is doomed for a lay down on the couch, Alyssa in the suede chair, and, you know, answering questions about, I don't know, whatever.
All of his childhood trauma.
What childhood trauma?
Sweetie, you don't want to get into that.
Oh. But yeah, so we're going to get a take from Alyssa on teenagers and, like I said, how they view pop culture. What things do they like? And how are they different from people who are 30 years older than them? We're also going to touch on Kevin had a big trip recently, a fun trip. So we're going to talk to him about that. And Jess and the kids and I all went to see Cruella in the theater yesterday. We're going to touch on that. Bo and Kevin have not seen it yet. You guys know that we don't care if we spoil anything for Bo, but Kevin does not like spoilers. So we're gonna give you yes, go see it or don't. And so we'll touch briefly on that. We are also going to talk about some other Disney things that we might like to see. And by the time this podcast is out, it will be less than a week until Ghostbusters Day, which is June the 8th. And so we know we've got a new Ghostbusters movie coming out at the end of the year, November 11th, Ghostbusters Afterlife. What we hope to see for Ghostbusters Day. Sometimes there's an announcement from Sony and Ghost Corps. Sometimes there's a toy announcements, you know, so we're going to shoot the breeze and see what we want to see off that. But Alyssa, thanks so much for being here on the podcast with us. It's nice to have you finally on here.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
So with all of us being in our 40s, we have many more years of experience with pop culture and bringing things in. But we want to hear from you. We want to know what you enjoy. What are some of your favorite things in pop culture and entertainment?
As for fandoms, I guess as you call it, that I am a part of, I really enjoy Star Wars and Marvel. I like Hunger Games, Maze Runner, Divergent-esque dystopian young adult novels. Mm-hmm. I'm very interested in Harry Potter. Well, I used to be very interested in Harry Potter. I like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Mm-hmm. That's all I can think of off the top of my head.
So it's not that much different because you're hitting everything that we love, mm-hmm. Certain things that we love. You just got a kind of a different take on it. Let's jump into the Harry Potter thing really quickly. You are very well versed in not just the movies, but the books. How many times have you read the entire series of Harry Potter?
In 5th grade, I think it was 5th grade, I took a year and I read it 10 times.
Not just one book 10 times, all 7 books 10 times.
So tell us what happens.
Yeah.
Basically, magical boy is like told he's the chosen one, and then like all of his friends die, but not all of them. Only main characters survive.
But what about Dobby?
You don't talk about Dobby. I'm still not over that.
No one recovers from that.
No one recovers.
No.
I'll never be the same. Truly. I've never felt heartbreak like that.
That was like talking about Dobby. Like when I knew they were going to split Deathly Hallows, I knew that was going to be around the end of the first movie. I knew that was going to be one of the big cliffhangers. And I'd be darned if I wasn't right.
Okay, so this is why we don't mind spoiling things for Bo, because he's prophetic. He knows what's going to happen.
So, Alyssa, one of the things that our generation has, your dad, Brock, is a huge collector. He's got collectibles all over the house. Bo, we're actually podcasting right now, and we see Bo's room. He finally got all of his figures back up on the wall and everything.
Peter's on the wall.
But
yes.
Right, yeah, Peter's on the wall, right? So, he's got all of his stuff. He's a big collector. Jess likes collecting things as well. She's got a lot of collectibles as well. And so do I. But one of the things that we noticed about you is that you are not. And that seems to be something that is kind of your generation. Your generation doesn't seem to do a lot of collecting. Do you want to expand a little bit on that? Why you feel that's the thing?
So I know that my dad has said the reason for his collecting obsession, that's not an obsession, but like it is.
No, it is.
It is. Oh. And he said the reason else generation is because the TV shows you watched were meant to market toys. So like the G.I. Joe stuff and He-Man, I don't really know. Those types of things were made to market toys. And our shows weren't really meant to do that. Like you guys grew up being like bombarded by commercials. Mm-hmm. But from what I remember from like when I watched cartoons, I mean, yeah, there were some random commercials for like, I don't know, slime. That didn't come about till like 5th grade. But although those were commercials, usually it was just them advertising for more TV like things. So we didn't grow up being like bombarded by like toys, buy all the toys,
Mm-hmm.
But I think for us though, it was a plug because when you watch stuff like, Transformers and G.I. Joe and He-Man, for us girls, My Little Pony, Strawberry Shortcake, Rainbow Bright, you watch the cartoons, they sold the toys that go along with what your favorite cartoons or your favorite show was because we grew up with that Saturday morning cartoon exposure to us. So when you love those shows so much, of course, I want to go out and I want to have all the figures that are associated with this show that I love, this cartoon that I love. I want to have the play sets and the action figures so that I can play with these things when I'm not watching my cartoons. I guess to me, that's kind of how I clue into all that. I mean, do you guys kind of see where I'm going with that?
Mm-hmm. Like we've said, I mean, they heavily marketed toys towards us. I mean, the TV shows, the cartoons on Saturday mornings, that and toys went hand in hand. I've really never known both of my kids to have never really gone into the toy sections of stores and been like, oh, I got to have that. I got to have that. I fully admit, between my mom and dad, I'm an only child. I've got 3 other half sisters who are older than me and didn't live with me as a kid. Mom would spoil me. We'd go down the toy aisle and I'm like, hey, can I have that? And Mom's like, I only got 1 kid. Sure. It's like mom spoiled me and that did not help. But growing up in the 80s when that was such a major marketing push for these companies, But my kids have never been that way. They've never been, hey, I really want that. My kids are pretty frugal, you know. So I really do think that ties into the Saturday morning cartoons. The kids have not had that steady stream that we had.
Yeah.
I think it also depends on property. Like I said, I have a 6-year-old, and first few years of his life, at like about 2 or 3, he discovered Thomas, and we had to have every Thomas train.
I remember that.
And then, of course, he got into Paw Patrol for a little bit, and we had to have a lot of figures. But then I think after he reached the age where he enjoyed watching kids play with toys on YouTube more than actually play with his own toys, which is also an interesting concept. So hey, yeah. And I mean, they have more electronic toys than we did, That's another interesting thing.
Yeah, that is true. There's more electronic devices that they're more gravitated to than we ever had growing up too.
Also, though, like with me and this is just my old man perspective on folks younger than me. But one thing is kind of interesting is even though like theme parks kind of started, they've been for a while. It seems more like, some folks that when they get into properties like Disney's done it really well with buying everything and then making a theme park out of it. Mm-hmm. Folks would rather pay the money that they would pay for collectibles and do an experience, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It does make sense.
I'd rather instead of buying a ton of toys, take that money and buy it, and go to Star Wars or the Marvel. I don't know. That's just kind of my old man perspective of it.
I see that because, right now you've got a video camera in your pocket. Mm-hmm. Back then for us, it would be wanting to collect these things because that's how we tied our nostalgia into it. That's how we tied our love into it. We had to have something physical. These days, if you invest money in the experience, you can capture photos, video, good-looking photos, good-looking videos and stuff on your phone. And so maybe that's a new way of collecting. You tie your memories into the visual aspects and the audio aspects that you can get. We didn't, sure, mom and dad may have had a big honking VHS or VHS-C video camera that they would carry around, which was a pain, but now you just got to pull it out of your back pocket and your instant memories.
Well, that's like also like the generational perspective. Like over the last, probably 6 months to a year, I've been finding myself getting on YouTube and watching tons of old commercials from like the 70s up till the early 2000s. And that's very interesting because like, you're talking about, Alyssa said we were bombarded by commercials. And now like, I wonder if her age group's going to have any kind of nostalgia for commercials where you really see it unless, it's that 10-second ad you see before you watch a YouTube video.
I go down that rabbit hole too of old commercials.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I watched that, I was like, oh, hey, I remember when that came out. That was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
One of the things that, just kind of adding on to your assessment of just how just collecting is shifted. I'm waiting for the Star Wars hotel down at Disney World to open up because I mean, I don't collect nearly as much as I used to. I mean, when I got married 10 years ago, I got rid of probably 70 to 80% of my collection because it just didn't feel like I needed it anymore. I didn't feel like it was just something that I needed because I was collecting like one thing. It was all Star Wars stuff. And then I got to where I was, I've gotten older and I wanted to collect more of the expensive things, like more of the things that I can look at and go, oh man, this is awesome because it costs a lot of money. That kind of stuff, but it's less. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's just because I've gotten older, it's less is more. And to kind of echo off what you were saying, Brock, that is true because I feel like I get more out of the experience now than I get out of having something that I have to dust all the time.
Yeah, I totally agree. Alyssa, what's your take on all this? Are we hitting close to it?
I would say, I guess, as our generation is more like experience focused, like you were saying, if I hang out with my friends, I get pictures of that. I'm a very avid photographer, not in like any professional sense, but I have like a gazillion photos of every single one of my friends in every single setting we've been in. Because when we have nostalgia, we just look back on like our photos because we have a lot of them and they're instant and they're right there.
Our childhood isn't on the internet.
Yeah.
Thank God. In so many ways, thank God. Like with my mom, I mean, she took a lot of pictures and stuff, but you had to go get the film developed and you never know what your shots look like. And you break out your phone and you've got so much storage on it. And
the only ready available photos I ever had growing up as a teenager was my little photo album that I would put all my little pictures in and carry around in my purse. That's what we did as teenage girls. we would have that. But now it's, here's my phone, here's all my pictures, here's everything, here's video, here's it all on this one little handheld device.
Yeah, that used to be the same thing in our wallets. We had, a section for maybe 8 to 10 pictures we could put in our wallet. And I don't think wallets even include those anymore.
I don't think they do.
My wallet is paper thin. I carry it in my front pocket now.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the point in my early 20s where, I've never really been known as like a family type nostalgic person. And it was like you were expected as a guy to have that little insert in your wallet with all the pictures of your family and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to a point where I was like, this is making my wallet like twice. So it's like and it was when I was using one of the wallets that I put in my back pocket instead of like my front pocket. So it was like, you would sit down and you like sit lopsided because he had such a big wallet.
Did you have the George Costanza wallet? I know Alyssa's like, what? Yes. But y'all get me, right? Yeah.
But it was in my early 20s when I just decided, I was like, look, I know who my family is. And, we were already getting to the point where we weren't quite to the point where we had phones and stuff, but it wasn't that it wasn't important to me. It was just like, I had like, I guess mentally transcended the need for that.
Mm-hmm.
And
having that in my wallet.
And because we had to sit kind of cattywampus on those wallets, maybe that's where a lot of our lower back problems come these days.
Speaking of lower back problems, I want to tell you guys a short story here. I went to a chiropractor for the first time in my life back in my, I think it was in my late 20s, early 30s. And this chiropractor, pretty cool guy, but he never once suggested, he had kept having to adjust my lower back. And he never once suggested to me that I switch from a traditional wallet to one for a front pocket. And then when I finally just said, why don't I just get one of those ones that you just put in your front pocket? And as soon as I started wearing that, my back problems went away.
Hey.
I was like,
yeah,
there you go.
What was I paying that dude for?
I have friends who are chiropractors. We love you. You guys do a wonderful job on my back. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Kev.
We don't equate you to Walmart, okay?
Yeah. We love you.
Yes,
we hate Walmart. We love you.
When you start getting exclusive turtle figures and I can't find them there, then we'll
come get your back adjusted. We'll give you a shredder.
Hey.
You're gonna get that 2-pack of turtles you've been searching for all this time.
Hey,
look, we've already discussed the plasma donation. Why not talk chiropractor visit too while we're at it?
That's exactly. We're just adding to the oldness of this podcast.
Going back to something Mr. Kevin said like a while ago about wanting the more expensive things, like less is more when it comes to that. I don't know if this is just a personal thing or a generational thing, but like, I don't take any offense to this, anyone, please.
I'm done. You're over. You're grounded.
Man, I can't take any more of this.
Gosh. I don't see the point in paying like a lot of money because I've seen how much y'all pay for some of this stuff. And
I feel now I'm attacked.
Oh,
wow.
No, I don't. For something to just like sit on a shelf, because like I said, we are very like experience oriented type people, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Just like before this, I texted, my grade is very small and we have a group chat, and I texted and was like, hey guys, what types of things, I'm going to be on the podcast, what types of things like do we that entertain us? And every single person was like, our friends or like sports. And I see my Instagram stories all the time are just like people's sports stuff and then like their friends. And so I don't think that we necessarily, like, I personally don't get the point of having something just there to like look at.
Yeah.
Because I'm not visual. I'm not really a visual person anyway. But like if I could spend that same amount of money and do things with like someone or by myself, because people. If I could do those things by myself or with people or whatever and take pictures, I would get a much fuller experience, in my personal opinion.
Okay.
I'd be willing to bet it has something to do, and this is not discounting anything you said, Alyssa. That's all very valid. I bet it has something to do with just how Alyssa's generation has just like always been social. It's like as soon as you got the expectation was to be social. It was like you always had contact. You've always had contact with your friends when you got a phone. You always had contact with your friends. Whereas it was a little bit different for us.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like, if we wanted to, talk, it was like you have to go over or you'd have to get on the phone. It was all like, we were lower tech. So it kind of, maybe that has something to do with it in that we see more visual in collectibles because we didn't get that constant, I don't want to use the word bombardment, but the constant engagement that you're used to. Maybe that's what it is that it means more to us because we were able to latch on more to objects like that as collectors and things. Whereas your generation values friends more because you've had that constant engagement.
And that could be something too, because that reminds me, I grew up 20 minutes away from town. I grew up 20 minutes away from any of my friends, and me being an only child, that's really all I had. I mean, I had to exercise my creativity and my imagination through toys and through collectibles and things because I couldn't just up and go to somebody's house. My closest neighbor was a half mile away. I grew up in the sticks, the country in Southeast Alabama. And so it was a chore to go to a friend's house. It was a chore to have people come to our house. So, maybe that's where mine comes from.
Absolutely.
I grew up in a neighborhood that was full of kids. So we had our time for our bicycles and outside and running the streets and running the neighborhood and being with our friends and being able to go to each other's house. But at the same time, even when we were kids, when we would go to your friend's house, you would be able to play with them, to play with those figures and to interact. You could have that social interaction while playing with these action figures or toys or whatever it was that you were collecting. For us girls, it was Barbies, it was Rainbow Bright, My Little Pony, Strawberry Shortcake. We had dolls, we had things like that we could interact with our friends and play with. But then again, you would go home and we didn't have internet. I mean, we had TV and things like that, but you still valued those toys that you could go into your room and you could play with and you could use your creativity and your imagination with the toys that you had.
That's it, Jess. Because growing up, we didn't have constant engagement. Like Brock said, he was out in the sticks a little further off. I was the same way. I had a sister, but I mean, it was a sister,
Right.
And she was a little bit young. She was a good bit younger than me. There's nothing wrong with my sister. I love her to death, but she was a good bit younger than me. So playing with her in that capacity was a little bit more difficult. We had to create our own engagement.
Yeah.
So having collectibles, having toys, having things like that is how we created our engagement. So the thing is, when you look back at your time as a kid, you played I played with Lego blocks. I loved Legos, and I would build the pirate ship and I would build all that other cool stuff. I still love Legos to this day. Collectibles, things like that. Because, when you look back on your childhood, you look back on the things that make you happy.
Right.
The things that made you happy. And I would be willing to bet that for Bo, that for Brock, that for Jessica, they could probably all answer the same as me. Having those toys, those collectibles, the things that I could play with made me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's even with me even older. Nostalgia is my drug of choice forever. Like, I don't care what kind of crappy day I've had. If I queue up something on either an old commercial or, like I said, just staring at my figures for a few minutes, it kind of takes away all the adult crappiness I've had for a day. It kind of makes me, gives me that jolt of way I used to feel. Oh, it's worth every penny of it. Even though, like I said, it may sit on there and collect dust. That might be the perspective there. It's hard to bottle. If you could bottle that up and sell it, people would make millions.
Yes,
from
absolutely.
Well,
it takes you back to that time when you had no cares, you had no worries, you had no responsibility. But it's funny because at the same time you were thinking, man, when I grow up, I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna have that freedom, and
that is the biggest lie we told ourselves as children.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I've always tried to tell Alyssa and David. Yeah, you think things are gonna get so much better and so much easier. In a sense, they get better, but the ability to go do what you want, no.
Yes, but Alyssa, for our generation, we transcended, and now we have adult money, and then we can use adult money to buy those same toys and all the more expensive
now
stuff.
We're attacked.
Now that brings my theory. That's why there maybe not be marketing much as to younger folks, because you got us old people who are buying it now. So why worry about that?
And think about it. Why is Hollywood rehashing everything? Why are they making sequels of everything? Why are they rebooting everything? Because they're still marketing to us.
Yeah.
Why are grown men running into Target and Walmart and grabbing Pokemon cards and causing fights and violence to the point where the stores won't sell those outright anymore?
God, so sad.
Well, that's we'll blame that on the '90s kids. Pokemon was for the '90s kids. They're not the cool '80s.
You know
kids
what,
like
guys? I lived through Tickle Me Elmo. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Dude, when I was in the Air Force, when that came out, the year that came out, I found one at a Toys R Us in the middle of Texas.
Oh, wow.
And did not buy it.
Oh, man, you messed up.
I lost out on so much money.
like stupid amounts of money.
Well, my mom always said she thought she was going to have to punch a lady over a Cabbage Patch Kid, so.
And your mom would have.
And she would have, yeah, she would have, exactly.
I just had a thought, and I don't know if this pertains to any of this at all, but I know when I was younger, Dad will attest to it, DIY stuff was really, really big.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. I have made so many lip glosses from like Vaseline. And now, especially during quarantine, I've seen a rise of like teenage small businesses, and most of it is homemade stuff.
Yeah.
I myself did that. Like there's been a big rise in like DIY. When I was in 5th or 6th grade, like slime was it. But we didn't buy slime, we made slime.
Right.
That makes
you made a lot of it.
I did. Everyone was sick of it, but I wasn't. I was having the time of my life.
Are you flashbacking to all the mess that was left behind after these little projects?
She didn't make a whole big mess. Neither of our kids were really messy.
Yeah.
That's true. But I think that might have had a really big impact on the toy industry, because I know, like YouTube, I was a very sheltered child. I will admit that. I didn't get a phone for a long time. I still got it earlier than some people, but I didn't get a phone for a while. I didn't have my own YouTube account till like 7th grade. But I think 3rd grade was when I was introduced to YouTube. And there were really, really big channels then, like RCL Beauty something or other. There were a lot of channels, and they were all focused on DIY stuff.
Yeah.
And so our generation spent their time doing stuff like that. And I think that might have had an impact. Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly don't kind of circle it back a little bit. I don't know if the toy companies have actually figured out how to market to your generationalism. I honestly don't.
I don't think so either.
They're not cool enough for us.
What's also weird, like, we all had that one streamlined way. You had the TVs and the movies there where people could watch stuff. Now you have the internet where you have, you got the Amazon with their properties. They may have a cartoon, and then Netflix has got a show, and they're trying to market toys for them, and instead of it just being one straight line of, hey, this aired Saturday, going back to cartoons, Saturday morning, we do all this here, then, there. So it's, people have more ways to consume stuff. But it's kind of hard or weird to do like one streamlined way, if that makes sense.
No, totally. Because I'm sitting here while you're saying that, thinking that you had ABC and CBS and NBC. So you had your 3 major networks where they all had their particular cartoons. So, but now, I mean, look at all I say oversaturation. You got Netflix, you got Amazon, you got Hulu, you still have cable channels. So you have so much out there. I mean, even having cable when we were growing up and having it still is different. You see what I'm saying? You had you had all your cable channels, but now you have so many platforms and so many different ways to watch. And on these platforms, look at how much stuff you have to watch, or you have to decide you want to watch on all these platforms.
I know the majority of the TV shows, like when I was younger, I watched on like Boomerang and Sprout and Disney Channel and whatever. But all of the teenagers, we watch stuff off of streaming platforms mainly. Like, I think we cut cable TV forever ago. And I have one friend, I think, that still has cable TV. So all of the stuff we get usually doesn't have commercials.
Right.
Because we pay for, we pay the monthly fee, or our parents do.
Yeah.
Yeah, our parents do.
Yeah, you remember
clarifying.
You have Disney Plus because of me.
Thanks, Daddy. I love you.
I love you too.
But all the free stuff are like YouTube. The ads that I get have never been toys, like ever. Mm-hmm. They're either for more entertainment, like more movies or whatever, or for Wi-Fi. I swear they think I'm like a leader of a company or something. All I get is Charter Business and like all this stuff. Spectrum. It's crazy. But I haven't gotten a toy ad ever. I don't think it's been a while.
She's really I have this light bulb over my head moment that she's right. I mean, with all these streaming platforms, the need for these, the commercials and that has cut down drastically. You don't see commercials. You're not as exposed to them as we were. And even the ads you get, how many times do we really sit and watch an ad when it pops up? We try to skip over it. We want to get right back to that show or right back to that video we were watching.
TiVo, that 30-second skip button. And these days, I'm very sorry to all my YouTube creator friends, and I have a few. I run ad block on my browser. I don't see ads whatsoever, unless I'm using my phone or we're watching over Roku on the TV or whatever, but majority of the time I'm watching on my computer. I don't see ads at all.
Because, think about it, guys. Wasn't it just a huge thing for us to realize when we got to the point where, we can skip through the commercials? We can get right back to the show. We don't have to like run and grab and run and get, hey, it's back on, and that getting back to the TV for that show to come on. We can like, I can skip right past this. I can pause what I'm watching. We have that instant gratification now.
Yeah. Instant gratification is the huge thing. Advertising in general has changed. Instead of it being like visual with us, it's more like companies just want to know who you are.
Yeah.
It's like instead of actually advertising to your eyes, they're kind of coming in under, like with Facebook marketing, Google marketing. They would rather pay to get the information about you and cater toys in that direction. But it just doesn't work the same. It doesn't work the same as it did for us as kids,
No.
Yeah.
I think, like you were saying at the very beginning, the reason you guys had toys was so these companies could make money. Like they made money off of these toys, right?
Right.
They now don't have to sell toys to make their money. They get it through our subscriptions to these platforms. I think there's not as big of a push for toys because there is so much electronic now. So I think the toys have not become as big of a deal for our generation as they were for yours, because now we have the internet. They make their money through advertisements and copyright stuff with like Netflix or whatever.
Wow. This is really I'm glad we dived into this because this has been some thought-provoking conversation here.
Hey Alyssa, get off my lawn.
Is this usually
this is
your
kind
job?
of
No. I just feel attacked because you're like dead on. Other than I think the only thing that is off about your statement is the assumption that the media companies and the toy companies are in the same boat. I do think that toy companies are hurting because your generation isn't liking toys and it's very difficult to market to you. But I think that you're right in that has been offset by media companies making more money. And the thing is when you're a toy company, and like, let's say you're Hasbro gets a license from a media company to make Harry Potter toys or Transformers or something like that. Well, the media company, they don't care. They're making more money now because they've got you locked in better and more effective watching their shows. Yes, they make more money they make money off of the toys, but it's just like a scale. The balance is just shifted a little bit. They're still making the same amount of money, if not more. It's just they don't need to depend so much on toys as they used to.
Yeah.
And I think too, you have your babies, you have your toddlers that are, you have the toys for them, and that's really what they have as far as playtime. But now, even as 5, 6 years old, now it's a handheld device, it's a Switch, it's a game, it's a tablet, it's something that I can play with, it's electronic. So why do I want to go buy a plastic action figure and play with that? I'd rather just have this tablet, or I'd rather have this Nintendo Switch and play this game, or I want to watch, a cartoon, or it's all about what's in the hand that's an electronic device.
Which, I'm going to be honest, guys, maybe don't do that. Get your children toys. It's better for their developmental. Your kids are all going to be dumb.
Whoa. Wait, are you telling me?
I'm kidding.
That's a bold statement there, Cotton.
No, wow. It's not. It's a joke. I'm sorry.
That for you.
Let's hear what she's got next.
It was but a joke. Sorry. Actually,
wait. You mean to tell me that we can sit our children in front of TVs and devices and they'll be perfectly fine?
If you want their brain cells to be gone.
Look, Brock and
I'm sorry.
Well, it's like Alyssa said, she and Brock and Alyssa's mom it took them a while to even get to the point where they wanted Alyssa to even have a phone. So it's all in how you want to parent your child, and we are not going to have that discussion tonight.
Yes,
we'll never have that discussion. We want to make sure
you how to parent your children. I'm still a teenager myself. I'm just relaying the scientific research.
No,
that's a conversation we'll never have because we want to keep our listeners.
Love you guys.
Yeah. Don't worry.
We will go back to hating a Walmart before we'll do that.
No, we'll always hate on Walmart. I got no issue with that.
I'll be clear. We'll never have that conversation here. So. Yeah.
Well, this has been definitely an interesting conversation, and it's one that I was extremely happy about having Alyssa on for this because, a lot of these things, I have not thought about. We're old and grizzled, so it's good to have a fresh perspective on how these things work.
Yeah.
And let's take one quick second. David had a question. Just let me yell at him really quickly. Hey, David, if you're hungry and want a sandwich, you come fix you a sandwich, okay? All right. Since you don't use mayonnaise like Uncle Bo here, all you gotta do is just throw the meat and cheese on a piece of bread and have at it.
He is a man of culture. I respect him.
This morning.
Yeah, David came in here a second ago, so while he was whipping, he goes, "Was lasagna our dinner?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, That was at 3:00, Dad. Come on.
Well, at least it ain't 11 o'clock, and he's like, "I'm kind of hungry."
Yeah, he came in here last night at close to like 10:45. What's to eat?
He's a boy.
Oh my gosh, he's hitting the growth spurt. But yeah, all right, buddy. But yeah, that's one reason why I was thankful we were able to have Alyssa on because to get the different perspective. So we appreciate that, sweetheart.
Thanks, Alyssa.
You're welcome.
So thinking about living in the moment and just enjoying life. Kevin got to go do something recently that we wish we could have gone to. Mm-hmm. Kevin, tell us about your trip, man.
So everyone, I decided to jump into the great petri dish, into the great containment field of Pensacon. I went down to Pensacola for Pensacon this year. It was kind of wishy-washy as to whether I was going to get a chance to go, but I finally drove Amelia down there, stopped at all the superchargers.
Amelia is the Tesla.
Tesla, yeah, they should know by now. Jeez, God. I've mentioned Amelia before.
Did y'all know Kevin drives a Tesla? Sorry.
No way.
Episode 2, we talk all about it. Go back and listen.
So, anyway, I wasn't able to go down for the entire weekend. I was only able to go down for a select amount of hours on Saturday because I needed to be back for a engagement that I needed to go to on Sunday. So I didn't want to have to drive all night long. So anyway, I got down there, just went down on Friday night, and I'm nearly there. I'm about 15 minutes away, and I'm going down there, and I'm going to stay the night with my sister, Michelle, and her daughter, my niece, Kelsey. And that they had gotten an Airbnb at just right there next to the Pensacola Bay Center. And a phenomenal setup. So I'm about 15 minutes away from the actual event, and I get a call from Michelle, and she says, "We're at McGuire's Pub. You've got to get here." And I'm like, "Why?" "Emily Swallow is sitting at my table, and we're eating dinner with Emily Swallow." And anybody that doesn't know who Emily Swallow is, she was in Supernatural, and she played. She's in The Mandalorian. She was the armorer.
Yeah.
So she's like a phenomenal actress. And she actually earlier this year she actually did a cameo for my girlfriend Rebecca, And it was like the first cameo that she had done for a birthday that year, and it was like one of the cutest things I'd ever seen. But anyway, so I get there, and we are at a large table with the folks, and I'm going to plug them. Magic City Con, you guys knocked it out of the park at Pensacola.
Yep.
You guys got convinced Emily Swallow to come and hang out with us, so I'd show up. I know just a handful of these people, and just me. I may be an introvert, but I switched that extrovert muscle on and start flexing the heck out of it, and just started talking to everybody, being as sociable as I could be. And it was so cool because just having that little bit of primer actually really helped me get into the con spirit.
Yeah.
And guys, I know that there are a lot of our listeners out there who love conventions, that just love going to conventions, and we all miss it. That feeling that I got just in my chest of like, I'm around my people again.
Yep.
And being just being at a con. I wasn't even at the con yet, guys. I was at a freaking restaurant outside the con, sitting down with all the people. I got that feeling. So the next morning when we got up and we actually got over, by the way, Pensacon, the last year it was run, I did not have a very high opinion of it. It had a lot of problems with security, had a lot of problems with queuing. Once you got in there, you were good, but it was overall was kind of rough. This year, they changed it over from being run by a larger company to a company that's based in Pensacola. And that combined with the fact that people are still really timid about COVID and coming out, it was a much smaller affair. And it was a little more intimate. And when I say intimate, like you would expect a convention, the vendor floor was really packed, a lot of things like that. But overall, it was phenomenal. I got to go and do the vendor floor experience. I got to go around and talk to the artist. I got to go over to where the celebrities were, got to walk around everywhere. It just felt like a con, and it felt so good, even though this is Florida and most everybody wasn't wearing a mask. The cool thing is I came away and didn't have con crud. So That's like the first time in a long time that I've come away from a convention and not had con crud. So I'm attributing that to everyone being isolated from each other for so long. But Pensacon, I would highly recommend it. And again, major kudos to the Magic City Con folks for putting on such a good show, coming up with the best connections at McGuire's when we were there, and then just being like overall super awesome. I went and talked to them while we were going around the vendor floor, and I found a vendor that is based in Opelika that sells like the I forget the name of the Loungefly. Yes, it is Loungefly bags. That she kind of specializes in that, and she's never been to Magic City Con apparently. And I'm like, what? She's like, here in Alabama. So we went and got her contact information, walked up to the Magic City Con booth and said, please call this lady.
Oh, nice.
Get her to the convention.
Okay.
Rita and Jamie are always super awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought you were going to mention that there's a store in Opelika that does a lot of secondhand things called Almost Anything. They have a lot of collectibles and retro video games and everything. That's so good. And they've been to Magic City Con before. That's where I thought you were going.
I'm being horrible here. I don't remember the name of her business, but all I know is in the last probably 5 years, I have probably partially funded one of her children's college fund, and just the amount of freaking Loungefly bags I've bought for people.
Yeah, because they're not cheap.
No, they're not.
They're not cheap at all. And walked away with another one. So it's the way it is. But she had never been to Magic City Con, so we're trying to get her there, because I know she was the last time that I went to Alabama Comic-Con, she was there, and she was one of the best vendors there. So yeah, overall, Pensacon this year wasn't as big. That should be expected from every convention coming up, but it was phenomenal. I felt the magic, that aura that you get around where you're like at a convention and you're like, everybody here, this is my people. Right. These are all my people. I got that feeling again. And honestly, guys, I was only there for about 4 or 5 hours total. People go there for the whole weekend, and it was just that little bit. That's all it took. Was to get there. Of course, I'm not including the McGuire's trip that kind of sparked it off. But overall, actually being at the convention, it was good. So fantastic job to the Pensacon folks for putting on an amazing convention. Even though I stood in line for longer than I probably should have to get my pass, the day pass, because the registration times weren't in the program. That's my only complaint. Even then, I made a friend while I was in the line. So it was awesome, guys.
Cool.
2 thumbs up. Phenomenal. Pensacon was amazing.
Fantastic.
You did or did not go meet Judith Hogue?
I actually saw. I look, guys. All right, I get shy. Okay, around celebrities. Okay, I didn't go and formally meet her, but I will say I shared the same air as her in the same room at McGuire's because I saw her there, and I got celebrity shy, and I didn't talk to her. I'm not going to feel bad about it, but she was amazing.
Well, I mean, how can you not? She's a babe.
She's a babe. And the thing was, I mean, I think Bo and I have already talked about this, but I think she was one of my first crushes when I was a kid.
How could she not be?
Amazing.
Who is this?
This is Judith Hogue. She was April ONeil in the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. It's been a while, but you've seen it.
Don't give us that face, Alyssa. You know who she is, and she's amazing.
You actually saw it here the first time, I think.
Yeah, she saw it here with us.
We showed
Probably.
She slept since then.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping, though, you talk about Pensacon. I've been wanting to go for a few years, but unfortunately, like every major convention, they like to plan on weekends I work because I work rotating weekends.
Yeah.
So next year, I've already seen their dates, and I am off. So hopefully, I will be able
Fantastic.
to get in. So if anything, like I may do like you do, Kevin, do it one day.
And Kev, you can redeem yourself with Judith when she's here at Alabama Comic-Con later this year.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll go and see her if you guys go with me.
Oh, we'll be there because
Okay,
we're getting
yeah.
stuff signed. No, I'm going to hug this woman. I don't care. April ONeil, yeah, getting a hug.
So basically, just to kind of give you some perspective, Judith Hogue was the first one I saw when I came in McGuire's. I'm 15 minutes away from getting to Pensacola. I'm like coming into it, and my sister calls me about Emily Swallow being there at the table. But as soon as I walk in, she's standing there, and it's like, I mean, like if you get kind of crazy and your head starts to buzz a little bit, like you're standing in front of a crowd. That's kind of like it was, I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm a teenager again. This is very appropriate.
And shout out to McGuire's. That is a great place to eat.
Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness. I know they took down a lot of the money that they had on the ceiling to help out when one of the hurricanes or something came through, correct?
I think so.
Do they still have money on the ceiling? Have they started putting that back up?
Okay, let me remind you. So I come in the restaurant and Judith Hogue is right there.
Yeah, that was.
And the next thing I know, I'm sitting at a table and I'm talking.
Kevin
to people.
forgot what the place looked like.
Honestly, though, with all the money on the ceiling, there's the one thing at that place I want more than anything. They have that big DeLorean Motor Company sign. Like that caught my eye more than the money did. I love that thing. I would. Oh gosh.
Okay, so if that goes missing out of McGuire's, we have your first suspect.
That is not
I'm pretty sure that Bo is not the first suspect. He's just the first one to voice it.
Yeah.
Sorry, we will be Bama Geeks -1 if that ever happens.
I would be doing it remotely from me.
We'll go back down to McGuire's, take all the money off the ceiling so we can pay his bail.
That's right. There you go. And if you ever do manage to get that, don't put it up on your wall with command strips, okay?
Yeah, don't do that.
Be a much larger crash.
Oh my goodness. We wanted to go to Pensacon a year ago, so whenever Weird Al Yankovic was there.
Yeah, right before
we passed on it. So, but we'll get to meet him again one day.
Still regret that decision.
Yeah,
immensely.
Hopefully he'll be back around. I mean, everything's starting to open back up. I mean, even Dragon Con's going to do an in-person event this year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. We're glad you had a great time. We didn't get to go to a convention, but we went to a movie theater over the weekend, and we got to see Cruella. And we're not going to overly talk about that because a couple people on here haven't seen it, and we're going to be respectful. But Cruella, I knew nothing about the movie going into it. I knew that it was coming out. I knew it had Emma Stone and Emma Thompson, and that was all I knew about it. I mean, I'm very familiar with Cruella through, 101 Dalmatians and all the other Disney lore because that's, what we thrive on.
Right.
And I didn't really know what to expect out of this. Like I said, I did no research on it. And I'll just go ahead and tell you guys right now, see it.
Definitely.
See it.
Please see it. 10 out of 10 recommend. It was phenomenal.
It went on a little bit longer than I thought it would, but it held my attention the entire time.
Yes.
And Emma Stone really, in my opinion, did a fantastic job as Cruella and giving her backstory and why she is the way she is.
Very interesting backstory, and something that they, you had the foundation of Cruella to build on and develop this backstory for her. And I'm very fascinated by this backstory. One tie-in that was really good for me was the time period the movie was set in was the 70s, and the soundtrack was amazing, and the songs were perfectly placed in the movie, chosen in the movie to help guide the story and tell the narrative very well. It
was like James Gunn-esque.
Yes, very much so.
Even if you have no plans to immediately go see the movie or rent it on Disney Plus, go into Spotify, go into Apple Music, wherever you can, and just download the soundtrack.
I was doing that this morning. I was going back in
and
diving into the songs and adding them to my music playlist.
The one question I have for you guys, since you've seen it, and since I'm the reason you're trying to be spoiler free, and I appreciate that, because we don't care about Bo. We don't care whether we spoil.
Yeah, we spoil Bo. We don't care.
Yeah, but I'm the one who I know where you live, and you better not spoil it because I haven't watched it yet.
Look, dude. Look, we got your cereal, okay?
That's true. That's true. I did want to ask, did it change your opinion of 101 Dalmatians at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
It definitely changed my perception of Cruella.
Very much so.
That was what, going into this, that people were saying they feared, was that it was going to whitewash her history. And I've had discussions with other fans about that with Darth Vader, for example. Darth Vader's the same thing. It's you have folks that want him to be that imposing monolithic figure like he was in Empire Strikes Back when they were putting Han Solo in the carbonite, and you're looking at this guy, it's how dare you? How dare you? You're just so super evil. And that's, since then, we've seen Darth Vader in other things. We've seen him in Rogue One. We've seen him, in video games. And it's kind of we kind of cheer for him now instead of him being a bad guy. Is that what's happening with Cruella? Do you kind of feel like you're cheering for her now?
I don't think it's on that scale, because Darth is so iconic and has had so much happen with him. With Cruella, it just put her in a different light. It made me understand why she is the way she is.
Right.
Not I wouldn't say it's so much cheering for her. It's just a deeper understanding of her psyche and why she is the way she is.
I agree.
Yeah. One of the last character interactions I had at Disney World, we talked about it before. I was there the weekend it shut down of the pandemic. And I was one of the last, I was one of the last people at Disney World before they shut it down. And I was down there for a work conference, and they brought in the villains to come to our big conference shindig. And Cruella was one of them. And that was the best experience I had. That character, I love Cruella. And understanding her now just gives me a deeper appreciation. I mean, I love the Disney villains. I mean, anybody who knows me knows how much I love Ursula. We've talked about it. I adore Ursula. She's hands down my favorite Disney villain. And this just gave me a new love of Cruella.
We've already had the Maleficent live action movies. It's focused on a Maleficent. Now we have this with Cruella, and Emma Stone in interviews has said, we've had these. It's time for Ursula. It's time to get Ursula her movie. If we're going to keep continuing to do this, she rightfully deserves her own movie, just like the other villains that they have put out there have. It's just an interesting perspective on a character that is, the kind of the side character to a lot of these stories and a lot of these movies that we've seen. You get to put your focus on this person now, and they're not just somebody just to cast aside just as, they're the bad guy in this movie.
The thing with Cruella is, and I don't think I'm the only person to really think this, but Cruella was never a villain that I really wanted to know more about. I appreciate that we have a movie about her.
Exactly.
But, and from what you guys are saying, it's a well-deserved telling of her history. But I know we're going to kind of delve into what we feel are going to need to be the next villains. But, you mentioned Ursula. I mean, Ursula, whenever you watch the movie, yeah, of course she's the bad guy, but you're looking at it and you're like, how did she get this way? You don't really get that. I never really got that feeling about Cruella. It was just like, it was just the way she was presented in the movie. that
they're just the bad guy. Way. They're the bad person in the movie.
Yeah, I'd say.
But just the way that Ursula does the whole "Poor Unfortunate Soul" song, you're like, how did she get this way? Why is she just this freaking evil?
Many years of working in customer service, probably.
At Walmart.
It was.
Amen.
Retail.
There's our Walmart tie-in, guys.
Yeah.
Hey-o.
No, I absolutely agree, because Cruella has never been one that I was a big fan of. I've always really loved, like, Maleficent and Jafar and Ursula, and she's always been kind of a second thought, because it's just like, oh yeah, insane lady who likes to murder dogs for pretty coats, right?
Yeah.
But I think after seeing this movie, my perspective on her has definitely changed. And I know, as my dad was saying, like, he wasn't necessarily rooting for her, but I was. I love a good villain, okay? And I don't think necessarily she's justified in any of her actions, but I absolutely found myself rooting for her throughout the movie. And she will definitely be considered one of my favorites from now on.
But Alyssa, do you still consider her a villain?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
No.
I was about to.
I asked Alyssa. You don't consider her a villain?
Sorry.
Anymore.
Okay, me being the psychology nerd I am, I have a very hard time seeing anyone as a villain anyway, because I'm like, ooh, but there had to be something that like made you like this, and it's not. Anyway. I personally don't necessarily view her as a villain. I see her as a troubled genius who might be a slight bit insane, who just happened to turn the wrong way. She had goals and she went about them the wrong way.
She made poor choices.
She did.
A lot.
There we go.
A lot.
Yes, a lot of poor choices, but also she was kind of mad. But that's okay, because it just added to her charm, and I love her. This movie was fantastic.
Okay.
Without spoiling anything, it was who's more evil in the movie?
Mm-hmm.
It's
nice.
You got Cruella, and then you've got another force she is dealing with, and who's worse?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
The lesser of two evils is still evil, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
The lesser of two really bad evils.
Gotcha.
So we have Cruella, and we've kind of covered her, and we've talked about Ursula. You know, obviously Brock is going to be very partial to getting an Ursula origin story, because you know he's
Queen Latifah.
Yes, absolutely. And as you guys expect, you know, whenever you do a podcast, you do like pre-talk, or we start talking about things like what we're going to talk about. One of the things that I was surprised that we didn't mention, that not a single one of us actually brought up, was Captain Hook.
Ooh.
I forgot.
Captain Hook.
Well, Captain Hook's already been perfectly done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have Dustin Hoffman with us no more.
Oh,
huh? They didn't really explore why he was the way he was.
Wait a minute.
He's just bad.
Wait, what, Bo?
Wait, Dustin Hoffman passed, didn't he? He's been passed for a few years. Wait.
Man.
No, he's still alive.
Look, we're very...
I thought Dustin Hoffman was gone too.
Yes.
Are you serious, guys? He is gone.
Okay, we apologize in advance to Mr. Hoffman and his friends and family that we have preemptively killed him off.
Oh my God, he is still alive.
Oh my goodness,
Mr. Hoffman! If you happen to be a fan,
I know exactly where I messed up. I'm confusing him with Dennis Hopper. That's where I'm messing up.
Is he still alive?
No, Dennis Hopper died a few years ago.
That's where I'm confusing. Yes.
Man, don't be killing off Dustin Hoffman.
Wait, wasn't there already like I'm behind? There was a Hook movie, right?
Yes, Robin Williams.
Yes,
right.
but it was still from the perspective of Peter Pan.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, the whole thing with Cruella, you know, I've watched some of it. And the thing with Cruella is it doesn't even really. I mean, you see some Dalmatians in there, but toward the beginning of it. But and I'm sure there are more. But thank you, Brock. Yeah, he's like
zip the lips.
his lips, zip the lips there. But you know, the thing is we need to know where it started. Like, why we know that he doesn't like the alligator,
right?
You know, obviously because it took his hand. Why? What happened? What happened? He was chasing Peter Pan. Okay, well, show us.
It's because his mom and dad used to use him for alligator bait.
What? Seriously?
Sorry.
Honestly, that would be that could be an amazing story. Just to say, I would count that up there with Ursula, with how good that could potentially be.
I agree with you on that.
And now we need an origin story for Chubbs from Happy Gilmore since he lost his hand to an alligator.
I kind of have a different perspective on the whole how interesting of a storyline that would be. I can kind of see it, but also I find that he's like, maybe my mind is just messed up, but he seems to be like the least evil of all the Disney villains, right? Like he seems to have a softer side, but then again, he did try to push children off a plank. I get that. But
I mean, I don't blame him there.
But, I mean, you obviously haven't talked to Peter Pan. Peter Pan would tell you he's a really bad guy.
But Peter Pan is also like a child, and they're like in Neverland, and even though Captain Hook is like trying to murder them, everything winds up all hunky dory and like it's a Disney movie.
It's a Disney movie, yeah.
Yeah, I personally would prefer to see like Scar, right? Scar is just evil. Okay, there's no good about him. You see what I'm saying?
Right. He is, Scar is slimy evil. He's like just he's a slimy character, and it's just he's good.
It's good. And so I know The Lion King is like based off Hamlet, right? Mm-hmm. But I would like a Scar movie, to be completely honest.
And Jeremy Irons is still alive, Bo.
Yes, I know that. I feel like an idiot. I don't know why. For some reason, on my brain.
Well, Bo, guess what? I agreed with you, so we're both idiots. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I didn't know he existed, so
I have to look up and see. Did I miss the death announcement? Is this person still alive? I get it. And the internet loves to play tricks on people like that.
That is true. That is very true.
We also have to include Jafar.
Yes.
Jafar would also be a really good villain. Mm-hmm. And as we talked about in our pre-podcast, we need to have Jafar gets his eye exam, the direct-to-DVD classic.
Yes.
That was. Is this better? 1 or 2? Could you please repeat it? 1 or 2?
Oh, see, now I gotta go and watch that afterwards.
Yeah, we gotta put that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it because I never watched Family Guy, so
I wasn't allowed to watch Family Guy.
You're still not.
Sheltered kid.
Brock, please just let her watch the short. Okay.
Yeah, it's a clip.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It would be fine for her to see that.
But yeah, Scar would be a good one. Alyssa, I agree. Jafar. Mm-hmm. But I am in total agreement. I think the next one up, especially continuing on the path of female villains, would be Ursula for sure. I mean,
Absolutely.
That would be like beyond phenomenal.
And just in that vein, really quickly, I got to mourn the loss of Samuel E. Wright, who was the voice of Sebastian. He died this past week.
Yeah.
He was 74, I believe. That's a gentleman I had always wanted to meet, and I've set out so often to try to meet the cast of The Little Mermaid, and now I won't be able to. But condolences to his friends and family, and yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. We can continue on.
We took a moment of silence. That's what happened. Yeah.
I went silent because I was actually considering doing a Sebastian impression, and I was like, "Is that appropriate or not?"
Well, if you listen to the intro of the podcast, we had we've got Sebastian in the intro.
Yep.
And Jess and I are going to head back over at the beginning of August, side note, and see Jodie Benson again. She's going to be at Atlanta Comic Con that first weekend in August, or second weekend in August. So we're going over there for that.
Yep.
I don't turn down Jodie. I don't care.
No.
Can you guys think of any other villain castings?
Okay, so I was thinking for a second, I was like Gaston, but then I was like, there is no. Gaston is just a really just stuck-up, egotistical guy who needs to stop.
Yeah,
I feel like there could be a traumatic childhood past. There's some war stories too. We could
potentially
go somewhere with that,
and it could be it'd be a whole movie of him just working out and eating all that food that he talks about.
Right?
What went wrong with him is he got whatever disease you get from eating too many eggs, raw eggs.
Salmonella.
Yeah, he got salmonella.
Yeah,
and it affected him.
That's why he died, guys. But
I'm sure maybe thinking they're going to stop with the top tier villains. I'm surprised this has not been one convinced yet, like the Evil Queen. I know other other stories have done it. There's been like the other Snow White movies, but I'm sure Disney's eventually going to have their own evil queen from Snow White.
Yeah.
Oh, they have to.
Yeah.
Well, another one to mention, riding off that with Bo, was Mother Gothel from Rapunzel.
Oh yeah,
Rapunzel story.
A Mother Gothel backstory. I love her.
I mean, why did she get to the point where she felt she needed the whole magic of the hair constantly to keep her alive? How did she get to that point?
Could be a similar thing to Gaston. He's vain,
Right.
vanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. She was getting older. She had to keep herself young and vibrant and beautiful.
Which is why I still collect toys in my mid-40s.
Are your toys the equivalent of Rapunzel's hair?
I feel like it.
Okay.
My
well,
44-year-old father, everyone.
I feel young on the inside.
There
Look
you go.
really old on the outside.
Yeah, this is. I really like this, and I love the Cruella movie, and it didn't lessen her as a villain for me.
No,
by no
means.
Oh, there we go. We said the same thing, Jinx.
We do it all the time.
Oh.
And there is one more. There is one more that we need to mention. That could potentially get an origin story. Is Dr. Facilier.
Oh yes,
yes. Dr. Facilier would be a really.
I want to know more about him. He was fascinating.
I love him. I don't, but like I need a backstory on him. Also, my brain has just gone blank. But Madam, the Lady in the Swamp, Madam. Ooh.
You talking about from Rescuers?
No, sir. It's still Princess and the Frog.
Oh, sorry.
The Lady in the Swamp. I just think she's kind of cool. She's not a villain.
Oh yeah. The
lady with the snake that just.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Madam, I forgot her name, but I love her.
Yes.
Just a thought.
Bo, did we derail you earlier? I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. That made me think that people are always looking for movies for Idris Elba, and I believe that is the doctor from Princess and the Frog. That would be a good choice. Of course, though, I mean Keith David did his voice, and I mean Keith David's still he's a little bit older guy, but I could see him.
He's still alive.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Hey, Bo, he's still alive.
Yes. Hey, that should be the thing now. What celebrity is Bo's killed off?
If we want the true quintessential Disney villain, we need a backstory of the hunter that killed Bambi's mother.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Do we really want that story though?
He's probably from Alabama.
Just stop.
Probably
Alabama, man.
I mean, we have a bunch of deer hunters in the state, and I don't have a problem with that. But still,
he's either Bama man or Florida man. Actually, it's not Florida man because there were no bath salts involved. Take the bath salts out of it, it's Bama man.
Apologies to our Florida listeners. We love you.
I'm not apologizing, okay? You Florida folks, you know what I'm talking about.
I think some of these, maybe not lesser villains, but lesser known villains that aren't necessarily what come to mind at first, like Dr. Facilier. I hope I'm saying his name right. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying I would watch that as a TV series. I think that would be a cool TV series. Maybe. I don't know.
That would actually be a really good way of doing it. Like you can make the larger villains like I'm not saying Dr. Facilier is not a larger villain, but he definitely doesn't have the villain clout of Ursula. Ursula would be a good movie. Dr. Facilier might be a good TV show. Like, I was talking in our pre-talk about the podcast. One of my favorite Disney movies of all times is the Great Mouse Detective. Mm-hmm. And that's not one that's very popularly known. It's not one of the big movies, but if you've ever seen it, one of the really good villain in there is Ratigan. Ratigan would probably be a really good one to do as a TV series. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I could definitely see them. And Disney would be all about that, saying, "Oh, let's do some in Disney Plus, and then do some that's on the movie, and then we'll do premiere access, and you can buy it for $30."
Look at this, Disney. We're just throwing you $1 million ideas here.
I wouldn't be disappointed with the Yzma and Kronk movie.
Oh,
yes.
Yzma. Yeah. Oh my God, I didn't even think of her.
Gosh.
Because we got to make sure we get the poison for Cusco. Cusco's poison.
Hades would be another good one.
Mm-hmm.
I need a whole series on Hades. I need like hour-long episodes.
He'd be fun to watch.
There's so many people championing right now for Danny DeVito to just somebody please cast Danny DeVito in his live action. Yes.
Phil, yes.
No, it's not a stretch.
No, the man's in perfect shape.
I'm kind of thinking with Hades, hasn't that story, I mean, Disney hasn't told it, but hasn't the story of Hades being screwed over by the other gods been told a bunch of times already, though? Isn't that kind of why Hades is the way he is? Because he was screwed over by his brothers?
I think so. There are so many different variations.
Yeah, Greek mythology stuff. Yeah, that's...
Oh, yeah. They're all different versions. I think that Hades was really comical. Like, in Disney, at least, he's very, like, comical and not as, like, dark, because it's Disney. But I liked this version of him. But I like the idea that he's not necessarily, like, a bad guy at all. I like to think he's like a tormented soul who just happens to like guard the underworld, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Hades that makes him interesting is that regardless of how he is, he's always like the guy, like I mentioned earlier, he's the guy who is screwed over and he's really, really evil, bitter about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like he's so bitter it made him evil. And it is, I mean, there have been live action ones. There was that, I forget what the name of the movie was, but there was that one where Liam Neeson played Zeus, and I think it was Ralph Fiennes.
It was the Clash of the Titans remake.
Clash of the Titans, that was what it was. And then, you know, it was a whole thing. It was like, all right, well, Hades is acting all normal until he screws everybody over. Then he comes in and goes, I'm screwing you over because you guys screwed me over. And it's like that story's been told multiple times. It's like, I kind of makes me wonder if Disney would want to rehash that.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be a good story, though. I mean, especially, I mean, anything to get, you know, the good old, because I mean, we can't get Rip Torn back because Rip Torn has actually passed away. I know he passed away. Okay. And he was the voice of Zeus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess they could do that one. Like I said, I'm not sure if they would want to rehash that story again.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't think that's one that should be at the top of their list. Like, let's do this tomorrow, you know, like.
No, Disney Plus, it'll be fine.
Well, if they bust out an Ursula movie at any point in the near future, I mean, you know, Jess and I, we have AMC A-list, and we're allowed 3 movies a week for that. And that'll be my rundown. For a whole month, 12 showings.
It'll be like
he's not kidding.
No,
there's no doubt at all.
It'd be like when
Brock
Frozen.
He'll go in every screening with his shirt on. He'll be like the guy going to the football game or whatever, right. Like with all this stuff. He'll have his like whatever the equivalent of the beer helmet is on.
Hey, I will paint myself purple.
It was a good time to have AMC A-list when Frozen 2 came out. So
one of the coolest things that I saw the other day on TikTok was someone had taken their mom's car. She had a Kia Soul and had taken their car. She went and got it detailed, got it washed. And then she very stealthily put a sticker on the back above the Soul logo. It said, "Poor Unfortunate."
Nice.
And it had
love it.
And I was like, why does Brock not have a Kia Soul?
When I was a news reporter back in East Alabama, I was one of the ones to break the story on when they came into West Point, Georgia to build their factory. So I actually like Kia because they actually included me in a bunch of stuff to begin with. So.
Well, since we're talking Kia, with us living, I'm sure Jess has heard it too from our radio commercials about we want to see you
in River Chase Kia.
For all you Central Alabama folks, there you go. There's your earworm you forgot about.
No, we hadn't forgot. I listened to it every morning on the way to work.
Which is so weird. They used to do some of the greatest commercials. They would have these bad Bill Clinton impersonators talking about, I got a new Kia shipment. We got our new Sorrentos. And I mean, it was...
So, River Chase Kia sponsorship opportunities are available on Bama Geeks. Contact us on our social media at Bama Geeks or BamaGeeks@gmail.com.
I have to delete that from my brain and go, call Goldberg.
800-600-6014.
6014.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, my gosh.
And by the way, Goldberg, there's
so
also
lost.
Sponsorship opportunities for you.
Look, we are all broke and poor. Y'all guys want to sponsor Bama Geeks? I just told you how to get a hold of it.
800-588-4300.
Pay for my AMC A-list subscription, okay? I'll be fine.
Oh, my gosh.
Sorry.
We're becoming the free plug podcast.
Can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. Come on.
And poor guys, we're on a Zoom call right now, and poor Alyssa's sitting here looking at us like, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Alyssa, this is called a tangent.
Yeah.
We have
many.
Going back to that whole streaming service thing, I have zero idea what y'all are talking about.
I still miss the Suzuki man.
Oh my goodness!
And even
I still miss Tina Gordon and Sticks and stuff.
Oh yeah. Hi, I'm Tina Gordon driving up.
Okay. Y'all might have. Daddy, do you remember the thing you showed us at Christmas? We were going through like the old commercials and whatever, and there was this one Canadian "Don't Drink and Drive" commercial.
Oh my
goodness!
And
I'm trying to remember. It's this one guy, and he's like,
it's horrible.
They're all in a bar, and I'm gonna try to remember this, but they're all in a bar, and then he goes, "I'll have another round." They're like, "Are you gonna be safe to drive?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll be fine." And then he like saunters out, and they're like, "You're stupid, don't do this." And he was like, "I'm great." And then he gets in the car and he crashes, right? And then he's like, ketchup, like really bad fake blood. He's like dead, right? And then the police guy, but the Canadian, it's not a Mountie, it didn't look like a Mountie, but he came over and he's like, he kept on looking at you, "Hey, are you okay?" And he opens the door and there's the ketchup really, really badly done. He's like, "Not okay." He closes the door and he goes, and then it says like, "Don't drink and drive," like something like that. And sorry.
No, that's good.
That was awesome. I just want to say, Alyssa, please don't go into the medical field, because I think you would like go to like somebody would come into the emergency room and you'd go, "Let's just catch up."
Are you okay?
Bo, I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna send that to you since you have a love of commercials like that. You'll love it.
To all, like both of them. It's so good, guys. I can't.
I mean, now that Alyssa has described it, I think you're going to have to do it as like the midweek social thing at this point, Brock.
Yeah.
Just post it along on the channel. So
Yep,
you guys just expect that.
We'll find it. Have to dive back through our YouTube history.
I want to go into a form of the medical field, but I shouldn't, because I'm either going to be like super emotional about it, be like, "Oh, dead people, oh no," or I'll be like, "I'm so sorry."
Or that's just ketchup. And take a salt tablet and walk it off.
Well, as someone who's married to a nurse, that's pretty much the sympathy I get around the house. You know, I'll survive is usually what I've been told many times.
Are you breathing?
Yes. All my wife's bedside manner is safe for her job.
She ain't got time for that at home.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I see. Bo had told me that before, and I'm actually dating a nurse. And it's like it's something with nurses. It's like you're like, "Heck yeah, man! I got me a nurse. It's gonna be awesome." And she'll listen to my stuff, and it's like, "Oh no!" They're like, "No,
suck it up.
You ain't nothing. I've heard worse. Just deal with it. Take a salt tablet. And
I am
walk
off
it
the clock."
It's like working retail, but with people, you know, with their existence and living. You know, they kind of, I mean, they enjoy their job, do what they can, but then, you know, when they're off the clock, hey, you'll survive, like you said. Put some tussin on it, you'll be all right.
Oh, you want to hear something? I was in paracentesis the other day, and I pulled 50 pounds of fluid off of this one guy. Now let's talk about your feelings.
Dang. Oh my. Well.
So hey, Brock.
Yeah.
Let's talk Ghostbusters Day.
Oh, sure.
Ghostbusters Day coming up.
Yeah, by the time we get this out on the feed, June 8th will be right around the corner. And Ghostbusters Day, which is celebrated annually by all of us Ghostbusters fans and by Sony and Ghost Corps, that's our holiday, our big day. So we don't know what to expect out of Ghostbusters Days this year. Kind of hoping for a second Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer, which comes out November 11th. Jess doesn't want to see it, and that's cool because she wants to go in as fresh as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd love to see some sort of trailer not revealing anything. I don't want to see the original guys revealed at all in any type of trailer or any type of form. But I'm hoping maybe we'll have some more product announcements because, as we've talked about a lot, you know, we're collectors and we collect Ghostbuster stuff. And, you know, just this past week, you've seen us brag about it on our social media channels at Bama Geeks on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Shameless plug. But we shared a picture of 2 fearsome flushes and 2 bug-eye ghosts that they were sent by Walmart, and they arrived in almost immaculate condition, which we cannot say for a lot of our friends who
They've
had
been listening.
They had their figure cards bent in half and bubbles ripped open. Walmart actually did us right for once.
Mm-hmm.
And so those the real Ghostbusters figures, reissues from our youth from the Kenner series. Maybe some more toy announcements. I'm hoping. We'd love to collect those. What do you guys want to see at a Ghostbusters Day? What do you guys have
before you go any further, I just want to highlight the fact that Brock just said something positive about Walmart.
Yeah.
He did. And I just want to, that's just kind of a watermark level event here, guys. Because Brock just loves Walmart, as you guys know.
I have another Walmart story that turned out to be pretty dang cool. Okay. So we've related in a previous episode how Jess surprised me one morning with Castle Grayskull. She had gone before work. She needed to get something from Walmart. There was a Castle Grayskull. So Brock, being the fiscally responsible guy that I, aspire to be, canceled my pre-order from Walmart.com on Castle Grayskull. I didn't need it. It's already here. Friday, I've gone across the state to pick up the kids, and Jess sends me a text and just says, ... And I'm like, okay, what did I do? And she sends me a picture of another Castle Grayskull box sitting on our front porch.
Yes.
Oh.
And I'm like, I don't know why that's there. She says it's from Walmart. It came via FedEx. It's Castle Grayskull again. And I'm like, I canceled that. Walmart, this is the second time I have canceled a pre-order from them, and they have not charged me and sent it. The first one was the Ghost Popper, the real Ghostbusters Ghost Popper. I canceled that pre-order because we found one in store, and they sent it.
Yeah.
Regardless. And I'm like, okay, Walmart has been notorious for screwing up pre-orders.
Mm-hmm.
But now I got a free Ghost Popper. And out of the blue, after canceling my order, I've got another Castle Grayskull, courtesy of Walmart.
Yeah. Go figure, guys.
Thanks, Walmart. I know you can spare the money, but thanks. Okay, there you go.
But going back to what I want from Ghostbusters Day. Hey,
I want some free stuff like Brock got.
Look, just pre-order your stuff from Walmart. It's either going to come packaged really badly, or that 1 in a million shot, you're going to get something good, or just go ahead and cancel it. And they may send it to you for free. Just go ahead.
You just you never know. You really don't.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do with the second Castle Grayskull. I don't need it, but we'll figure it out.
What did you want to get, Bo?
I figure, I don't know. Like I said, I'm good on figures, but I kind of like the idea with the Ghost Popper, what they did. I have a feeling they're either going to reissue the Kenner Trap or the Kenner Proton Pack. I think the Proton Pack might be the most likely thing.
Well, they've already they've shown at the 2020 Toy Fair. I mean, they're going to do a revised Proton Pack for the kids. So I mean, and it looks a little bit more movie accurate.
Got you.
So they're redoing that. I don't know if they're going to re-release, because that's coming down the way, and it's already been announced. I don't know if they're going to redo a Kenner version.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Like I said, yeah, I'm a little bit. I haven't. Like I said, that was hectic last year. Like I said, I guess I've been so consumed with trying to get turtles.
We've all been consumed with getting these turtles for you.
Yeah.
Where are the turtles?
A ghost trap would be good. I can't remember if they hinted at a ghost trap role play item or not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember, but that would be really cool to get a reissue of the original Kenner one.
I was just say I'm waiting for them to actually like Afterlife figures. I want to, I'm ready for Phoebe to be on my shelf. That's or I know, like I said, wait till after I see the movie, but I don't know if they'll drop it after the movie. But I guess the old version of the guys that's going to be appearing in the movie,
right?
Yeah, that's one I want them to hold off on.
I mean, I know we got the commercial with the mini Stay Puft, but have they made any announcements as to figures for the mini Stay Puft or anything?
Outside the little blind capsules, I haven't seen anything else.
Yeah, the little mystery minis.
Yeah, that's the only thing
they revealed those.
I'm sure about August or September is when we'll start seeing stuff for sure.
I mean, at the very least, we should see Funko drop in their stuff soon. Like, because they'll have a tie-in and have their Funko Pops and stuff.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I would think that at the very least, I'm just really hoping that they'll be really good about not allowing the toy companies to go ahead and announce like villains. Like, what if they just suddenly like we get to the day and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, here's the Afterlife Gozer. And we're like, cool, thanks for letting me know Gozer's in the movie.
Yeah. Well, I want to say like one of the early leaks that I actually got accidentally discovered on was like the Funko. There is going to be a Funko of the mini Puff. Like it was at least the picture I saw was like a Funko style Puff holding a match on fire.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that just makes sense because the mini Puffs look like Funko figures.
Yeah, but they're not spoiling anything with that. Yeah. We've already had a commercial for it. So that's good. But I just don't, that was one of the reasons, like tapping into another franchise, but like The Mandalorian, we didn't have any merchandise for Baby Yoda for Grogu until season 2. And the reason for that was they refused to tell the toy companies about it to get the marketing going, because if they'd have done that, it would have leaked. We would have known about Baby Yoda.
Right.
So I'm kind of hoping maybe a lot of the media companies have learned from that. And I mean, odds are with them mentioning Shandor and mentioning all this other stuff, there's a good chance we're going to have Gozer coming back, at least in some form. But I'm kind of with Jessica. I don't want to know. I want to be surprised by the movie.
I just want that surprise so much. I want to not know too much ahead of time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Bo, that's what a lot of the community is kind of at the point where it's like, we've had the figures of the 4 guys we've been collecting and collecting and collecting.
So many reissues of those.
And it's time to, if we're breathing the new life into the franchise, hopefully we'll start getting the toys that reflect the Afterlife movie, the Phoebes, all that's going to be tied into this movie. I know that one of the big hopes going around the community is the new Ghost Trap. Are we going to get the thing about the Ghost Trap associated with the Ecto and Afterlife is the remote controlled, or it's on wheels. Trap. So that's, a lot of people have that hope that we're going to get that Afterlife trap at some point.
I want my Polaroid camera Ecto goggles. That's what I really want.
Yeah. Those look cool. That and if you haven't seen those, look for the international trailer for Ghostbusters Afterlife. That's where those were featured.
And I know that we've had a problem with finding, the cereal in our neck of the woods here. Still, no cereal is being put out on the shelves here. I know, was it Ghostbusters Virginia had recently made a post that the Stay Puft marshmallows were starting to show up in some of the Walmart stores. I haven't seen those yet here either, so I'd like to hopefully get my hands on a bag of those at some point.
And I mean, come on, guys. Why do we not have the cereal already? I mean, isn't Alabama like the diabetes capital of the world or something? I mean, we should definitely have it already at this point. Come on, Walmart, get it together.
It's probably whoever they gave the license to do the cereal. I don't know if it's
General Mills.
Is it General Mills? Well, that's kind of weird. I hadn't seen it, but
that's strange.
Just like in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, who are you going to call?
He-Man.
So the big question, Brock, is, and granted, this is just a smidge off topic, but are the kids going to get to go and see Afterlife?
Oh, hands down, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we have a choice.
No, you don't.
Granted, I'm not mad about it.
Good answer.
Yeah, a week after Ghostbusters Answer the Call premiered out in L.A., we got to go to a private screening over in Atlanta. Quite a few of us. There were some Alabama Ghostbusters and, of course, the Georgia Ghostbusters. We all got treated to the big IMAX 3D version, and so I was able to take the kids to that. And so we got to see about a week before it hit theaters.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm dragging the kids. The kids have no choice whenever they're with me. If they're going, I guess we're going to go see Ghostbusters with Dad. Yeah, you're right.
Oh God.
No, yeah, Ghostbusters is like the one franchise we don't have a choice, but honestly, I'm not mad about it.
Are you, Brock? Are you gonna let at the very least Alyssa watch Stranger Things so she can get a little more character development?
I would like to watch Stranger Things. You told me I could, right? Or
now that you're older. And you can sit down and watch it with Jess and me, because
forced parenting decisions on a podcast, guys.
Which is totally fine, because we need to go back through that anyway. So
yeah, I've been wanting to rewatch Stranger Things for a while.
We made it halfway through the second season, and that's as far as we got.
Let's say it is legit scary. Like it is a scary show.
You probably won't let my son see it, but
no.
But Alyssa, we might. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm just there for Millie Bobby Brown. I love Millie Bobby Brown.
She's awesome.
Well, and you can, and the whole reason I mentioned it was for Finn, because he's going to be in Ghostbusters, so you'll get a little bit more exposure to him as an actor.
He's going to have gray hair before Afterlife premieres.
By the time it does come out, he'll be like the oldest guys.
We'll have Finn Jr.
Is this him or his son? In this movie? Oh, we don't know.
Oh man, but yeah.
So what else do we have to talk about Ghostbusters Day? I see we have removal of something on YouTube.
Yeah, Ghostbusters announced today. I guess it was announced today or yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It was announced this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, that they are removing the real Ghostbusters cartoons and Extreme Ghostbusters off their YouTube channels. If you haven't been paying attention, the official Ghostbusters YouTube account, they've been re-releasing like have they been doing real Ghostbusters on Saturday mornings, kind of like doing it as
Yep. Saturday
and
morning.
then Extreme Ghostbusters like during the middle of the week.
Yep.
But they've been like, hey, reclaim your Saturday morning cartoons. And so Real Ghostbusters, they've been releasing them weekly, an episode weekly on their YouTube channel. And they are stopping that. They announced today that, hey, just very few more days left and we're taking them off. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, how do they phrase it? It was, hey, summer break means get outside and enjoy being outdoors. And we're taking it off. So it's kind of like when your season ends
right
for Saturday morning cartoons.
So does that mean that we should expect to see it on Netflix or something coming up, or Crackle or something like that? Because
that would be probably possible. Like I said, I know Sony, like we were talking beforehand, Sony's got a deal now with Netflix where they were going to get like basically the stuff that didn't come to theaters. You could do the premium or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming that they're probably going to wind up moving it to Netflix. I mean, it's been on Netflix before. Right. Extreme Ghostbusters wasn't. I think the only way you could watch Extreme was on Hulu at one point.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But
I've never watched I've watched a couple of episodes of Extreme Ghostbusters, but that came out when I was in the Air Force, and so I didn't pay much attention to it. But
I've watched a lot of the big highlight episodes, like the Grundle and Back in the Saddle, where the older guys come back in the pilot. But I haven't really watched the whole series. I need to. I mean, I liked what I watched. I mean, Ghostbusters.
Sony doesn't seem to be pushing really hard on Crackle right now because I know that's their other service. They don't seem to be really pushing very hard on that. So I don't know whether they would actually put it over there or not.
I didn't even know Crackle existed.
It was on there at one point, I want to say. I don't think all of it was, but some of it was.
Alyssa, Crackle is a free streaming service from Sony.
And it's been around for a long time. But it's never got any major push or play. We just kind of knew about it. Yeah. At least from my perspective.
They're slowly developing it. I know they've got some original shows on there, but I mean, it's not like Netflix quality original shows.
Some of the older shows now, to me, like some of these the free streaming services are kind of the new syndication because there's commercials and stuff with it now. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's kind of a way to take an old property and still try to make a little bit of money off of it.
Yeah. As far as Real Ghostbusters, I've got the Time Life box set that they released of the DVDs. I've had those for years. I didn't
get that when it originally
I remember watching those as a kid.
Yeah, we I mean, I know exactly where I can put my hands on it. So we need to sit down and go through them again. They're great cartoons. Man, they're great cartoons.
Yeah, they are.
And along the Real Ghostbusters line, we know that there is an Ecto-1 coming, a re-release of the Kenner.
Yep.
Ecto-1s. Those are due to hit in August. Mm-hmm. I know Hasbro has already sent, like our buddies Craig and Abby and Jake, they've sent over to them. And of course, GhostbustersNews.com. They've also sent, and Chris Stewart and Troy Benjamin over at the Ghostbusters, the Interdimensional Crossrip, very good friends of ours. They've all got the Ecto-1s in their hands from Hasbro. So the rest of us can expect to see those. Of course, I've already pre-ordered 2 from Walmart and watch them come damaged now that I've given them praise for shipping stuff very well. But yeah, they're going to be, I think in August is when those are supposed to release. And I'm probably going to buy a few more of those because Ecto-1.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I'm getting one for myself, one for my son, and then I want to get another one so I can get a set of GB2 sticker decals to have the Ecto-1A finally. I never had the Ecto-1A.
Yeah, and you can find those stickers.
Yeah, there's a lot of good folks that have the resources for them, yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that.
Speaking of Ecto, if Sony is listening and they wanted to do another Afterlife trailer, they could, if they didn't want to ruin anything, they could just do a trailer of the kids driving the Ecto-1 around with the gunner seat sticking out, just shooting things, just shooting random things. Just do a trailer that's a minute long. That's just them shooting things with the Ecto-1. I would be the happiest person in the world. Don't ruin anything.
Well, if anything, do like they used to. I don't know if I haven't watched a lot of late night TV talk shows anymore. But remember, used to you'd have the stars go on the show and then they would show their clip for the movie.
Right.
Unfortunately, though, since we have Paul Rudd in this movie, there's a good chance this clip may be another clip of Mac and Me. We don't know. But,
it always is.
Yeah, have them show like just the 30 second to 1 minute clip. Like you said, that could be something good.
Hey, speaking of which, Alyssa, have you seen the movie Mac and Me?
No, sir. I've never heard of it.
Hey, Brock, you've got to expose her to the movie Mac and Me.
I have to see it myself. Actually,
you haven't seen Mac.
I've never seen Mac and Me.
You haven't seen the longest. Was it Coca-Cola commercial? Is that what it was?
Coca-Cola McDonald's.
Yes.
Yeah, Coca-Cola McDonald's. The longest Coca-Cola McDonald's commercial of all time.
Right.
No, I've not seen it. Mm-hmm.
It was like McDonald's was like, hey, everyone likes these cute, cuddly aliens like E.T. So we're going to do something like that. Like it's
spontaneous break, like dance
McDonald's,
at McDonald's
in the middle of the McDonald's. Yes.
Go ahead and watch. As much as just for the love of 80s movies, it's so bad it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's an hour and 30 something minutes.
Like I said,
is that too long for your attention span?
It's not. I'm just saying that's a long commercial.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something for sure.
And when you're older, I'll let you see Wayne's World and get their take on product placement.
Man. Oh my gosh.
I feel like I've already seen Wayne's World.
No,
you
I
haven't.
would not let you watch that yet.
Yeah, but the thing with Mac and Me
you've seen Wayne and Garth, I'm sure, but you haven't
not the movie
seen
Wayne's World.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Mac and Me is they're actually trying to make it a legit movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
with Wayne's
there
World,
was an
they're
attempt
not.
there.
Right.
Yeah, Wayne's World, they're being very obvious about it, but
they have the best of intentions.
Why does, and I know the cover art and I know what the alien from Mac and Me looks like, but for some reason it spurred a memory of watching the Peanut Butter Solution. And I don't know why.
Peanut Butter Solution. I've missed that.
Boy, that was almost a direct-to-video thing I rented from Movie Gallery back in the elementary school. Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea what that is either.
And Kevin is currently looking up the trailer.
Yeah,
there you go. The Peanut Butter Solution. Just look it up.
Okay.
Peanut Butter Solution, 1985.
Oh my gosh, I remembered that from that old.
What is this, like a dark take on the Buttercream Gang or something?
It was.
This looks terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very confused.
I need. That's one I'm going to go. I'm going to actively go and try to rewatch that because I remember being scared of that movie, just because of I think there's a puppet or something in it.
Peanut butter movie.
Oh yeah, it's Peanut Butter the movie. It's about something.
I mean, Alyssa, how could you have not seen the hit 80s movie Peanut Butter Solution?
Yeah. I hope I gave somebody an obscure. Apparently, I gave y'all an obscure reference.
So no, there's going to be someone out there going like, "Oh my God, somebody else knows this." I'm not alone in my suffering.
I was in that movie. I was in that movie.
I remember I just remember Mom taking me to the movie gallery and saying, "What would you like to watch?" And I saw that and I went, "That looks interesting," and I was completely wrong.
Now I want to watch this.
Like everyone who watched Mac and Me, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why that jarred that memory.
To me, the Mac and Me alien always reminded me of Star Wars, the Bith, the ones who played the Cantina band, had the butt faces, and the butt mouths, like a little butthole, That's what.
Oh my! Oh my!
Oh my!
It reminds me of those dolls you used to squeeze in the ears.
Yeah,
would bloop out and the eyes would pop out.
Yeah,
that's what I don't know.
According to IMDb,
I like my
this
reference
is a
better.
Summary. One of these summaries, it says, peanut butter is the secret ingredient for magic potions made by two friendly ghosts. 11-year-old Michael loses all of his hair when he gets a fright and uses the potion to get his hair back. But too much peanut butter causes things to get a bit hairy.
I remember the bald kid. Yeah.
This sounds like something you would read off of the back of a card on a figure or something.
Yeah.
The 80s was whack, man.
Wow.
What?
Oh, you have no idea.
I have no idea.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's this
Okay.
is the Bama Geeks movie club is now going to start with the peanut butter solution.
Peanut butter solution.
This week's suggestion is
Brock suggests you watch the hit 80s movie Peanut Butter Solution.
Hey, I can't advise you on Mac and Me, but peanut butter solution, hey.
To be clear, folks, we do not advise you to watch Mac and Me.
According to this, it is on Tubi, which is another free streaming
Okay, yeah,
app.
we have Tubi, yeah.
So it says it's on or currently it says it's on Tubi. So.
Oh my.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
I want to watch that.
Oh, we're going to
watch it tonight.
No,
it's too late tonight.
You're going to watch it.
I know we don't have work in the morning, but we can't tonight. I'm old.
Speaking of watching things, I'm just going to say I found the Stay Okay, Don't Drink and Drive thing. So.
Okay, so Alyssa has it.
I do. I'll send it to the chat.
Nice. Good deal.
On that note, I don't think we can get any more obscure than that at the moment.
Yeah.
We should probably wrap this up.
I mean, I thought Mac and Me was pretty obscure, but I had never heard of that movie in my life.
We're going to have a watch party soon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's going to do it for us on Bama Geeks. We've thoroughly enjoyed this episode, and we certainly thank Alyssa for being willing to join us for this and giving us her perspective on, what pop culture is to her and how I ruined her even beginning stages of collecting.
I still collect press pennies, and that's something.
Everybody has their thing.
Yep. And I ruined her collecting spirit just like I ruined her spirit for seafood.
Oh, that's
a story for another day, guys. I will never touch a fish.
The last fish that she caught, I made her eat.
Awful.
It has scarred her.
Yeah, can't even get her to eat shrimp now, which is a shame.
Shrimp is just gross. The texture, it's a no from me. It's a no from me.
We'll dive into this subject from the psychiatrist couch next time we have her on. Well, thank you again for joining us on the 6th episode of the Bama Geeks podcast. As you can see, we all love getting together and chatting, and we're thrilled that Alyssa was here. And so we're going to, on the peanut butter solution, we're just going to call it a night. So any parting words from anybody?
Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter.
No. Oh, gosh. There's the earwig.
Oh, God.
I'm Bo Bearden, and you're not.
And take the Myers-Briggs personality test and tell me what your type is somewhere. I don't know where.
Just drop it in the comments anywhere you want to mention it on Bama Geeks on social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll psychoanalyze you for you. Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone.
All right. We'll catch you next time.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.